Dead last with no hesitation whatsoever. I'm so sorry, Clint. They've lost their best player on paper. They similar to the team that got relegated last time, but worse, in my opinion. So, and they've lost the manager as well. And Steve Cooper, I don't understand it. You know, it was, in my opinion, a horrible managerial appointment. I don't get it. I don't understand. So, yeah, and potential points deduction as well, which is crazy. In 19th place, Southampton. Listen, another team that came back up going straight back down. I'm not really impressed. I look at their squad. I don't see anything in that team that tells me they're gonna survive. I don't, which is a shame because I Southampton, Leicester, in my opinion, two big clubs, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. And chat, I'll be honest as well, and I hate to be that guy that does it again, but I think it's going to be the same situation as last season. I think all three that came up will go straight back down. I think the gap between these and the others is too big, and this is in a way a problem that the Premier League have, because when these teams that are here continuously stay in the league, the money that they're making is simply putting them in a position whereby the others' gap to close them down is too big. Ipswich are banking a lot on the Championship. They're buying a lot of the best players from the Championship. I don't think that's going to be enough. You guys tell me McKenna's good, but I don't think it's enough. I look at the rest of these teams here. I don't see who I can put down. I just don't see it. I've put them in. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see Ipswich stay in the league. Also a really big club. But I've gone with the three that came back up, or to go straight back down. I know Calvin Phillips, Samori. I know, can he cook? Can he play like he played for Leeds? But I just don't think it's enough. I don't see it. The lowest from the rest of the league. This is one of those which it pains me that I have to put this team here, but I feel like I have no choice because potential points deduction as well. I've gone with Everton. So far, I just don't think they've done enough. I always say the same with Everton. They're not going down. People disrespect them when they say they're going down. I don't see enough. I hope I can put them, but I have not seen enough on the market yet. We'll see. I think they need an attacking player for sure. And from what I'm being told, they're going to lose points deduction again, but they're going to stay up. They're going to stay up. That I am confident in. In 16th place. 16th place. I like the manager. I love Gary O'Neill, but he's been put up to basically dry here. Like the squad is not good enough. The transfer market, in my opinion, was terrible for them. They've lost their best defender in Kilman. They've lost their best player in Neto. I don't see it, man. I again, Gary O'Neill, fantastic manager, but always things are always stacked against him. I feel very unlucky manager because he always overachieves. But I believe this time they're gonna struggle. Close to them will be Brentford. I still have a feeling Ivan Toney will leave before the window is up. And you know what? I don't even think it'll be a big loss for Brentford. We've seen last season, I think they coped relatively well without him. I'm not even sure at the moment he necessarily starts as crazy as it is. I mean, towards the end of the last season, he even got dropped. Like, Saudi want Tony. There you go. Like, I think they'll be fine. I think Embremo and Wissa, I think they'll be fine with those two players. In 40, and obviously Thomas Frank, good manager. In 14th place, I've gone with Fulham. There's a lot of questions at the moment surrounding Fulham. They need centre backs. I believe they'll get one. I don't think it's going to be Joachim Andersen like they're saying. I don't. What I like with Fulham is the manager always seems to be able to maintain a certain standard and level. But the loss of Palhinha cannot be underestimated. They're not going to be able to replace him. How many points did he win them last season? In the big games, especially in the big games. Fulham caused problems to Manchester City. They caused problems to Arsenal. Primarily, it was because of Palhinha. He's gone, they'll struggle. But Smith Rowe, Muniz, it'll be fun to see them combine. I want to see what they can cook. And I think, like I said, the manager is an attacking manager who, generally speaking, has his teams playing some nice football. They're really strong on the fullbacks as well. Good goalkeeper. So that's a good position. Now, the last team to complete the lower mid, Forest. I think this is the year it clicks for them. I think people putting them to go down, I think you're crazy. I've always felt with Forest that they're on the verge of doing something remarkable. Andersen, they overpaid like fuck for him. But he's a good player. Morgan Gibbs-White, top. The wingers, I think this is where it will click. And naturally, they've lost Niakite, which is a big loss. They brought in Milenkovic, Bozo type of player. He's not brilliant, but he's got good qualities, physically especially. So I believe it's going to click. And that's true. The manager is questionable, but I think it's going to click for them. So that's what's going to complete my lower. Bro, this Betis Girona game is crazy end to end, man. Holy shit. The higher mid table. Obviously, this is where we enter. I don't think there's a gap, mind you, by the way, because I think Palace are 12th, and Palace to me are more in this level. Incredible what the manager was performing last season with Palace. But they've lost their best player. I've always told you, Eze is not their best player. Olise is. And if they lose the Andersen as well, that's a big loss. Big loss. It's a shame that they weren't able to push on, because if they kept him, I think they could have cooked. Eze potentially going as well. So yeah, those are big losses. They've brought in Kamada, who was shit for Lazio last season. Terrible. Gueye could leave. Could be problems, but I trust the manager enough to at least keep them 12th. I think they'll stay there. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it could be 13 or 14. But I got them staying. In 11th, this is where I believe, in my opinion, there is a slight gap, because yes, listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Brighton are being slightly overrated. Like, when you bring all these children together, right? It's like their manager himself is basically a child as in managerial terms. I have reservations. I have question marks. I think defensively, they're going to struggle like they did last season. They're missing Verbruggen, who's out. I think Kadioglu is a top player, but defensively, I've also Lewis Dunk, they overrated him like crazy. He was never as good as they say he was. The best player for Brighton, in my opinion, remains Joao Pedro. I think he's an incredible player. You know how much I like him. He's got all the makings to go to the next level. Now, should players like Mitoma coming back, players like Solimarch coming back, yeah, a bunch of others like you name it, the new signing Minte, Pascal Gross left as well, so that's lack of experience. Lallana left as well, that's lack of experience. Buonanotte is going on loan. Ferguson, there's question marks though. There's a lot of question marks. Billy Gilmore potentially leaving. I'm going 11th. I think they're being overrated by people. I see people putting them top 8 or what. No chance. I'm going 11th. And yes, I think Bournemouth will finish above Brighton. 100%. How is people not speaking enough about the window that Bournemouth are having? I mean, it's exceptional. It's exceptional. They lost Solanke. They replaced him with Evan Nilsson immediately. Level-wise, they're the same. They're the same. There's no difference. I promise you. I tell you this. And defensively, they've strengthened. Parameters don't know who Huijsen is. The top player, it's hilarious because Juventus let him go when literally he's better than whoever they're going to bring in. But that's how bad that club is operating. So, Bournemouth above Brighton. And I expect them to cook on high heat. Araujo, I like him as well. Julian Araujo, I think he'll be a good signing for them. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how they will shine. Mamardashvili potentially as well in goal. We'll see. That's pending confirmation. But that will definitely solidify me. And remember, I was the only one that put them in the top half last season. Everybody had them being relegated. Sure, I maybe stepped it a bit, but do not forget who's speaking right now, okay? The only person that backed them. Nobody else was backing them. Everybody said relegation. Thank you, Aiden. Ignore them. They don't understand. Leicester City last is the most morning. Yeah, bro, come back to this. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this. Now then, as you can see, I've not really gone with a lot of surprises for the top. What are we? Top 9. I think this is the top 9. The fascinating thing is, what order will they be? This one pains me. It pains me dearly. But I think Aston Villa 9th. I'm so sorry, man. You know, I was the one that, again, backed you guys last season. I didn't think you finished 4th. I put you 5th. Again, nobody had you guys finish in top 5. But let me tell you something that people aren't factoring in with Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz was Aston Villa's best player by some distance. He was their best player for last season. He was the best player the year before. He was everything. People say Ollie Watkins, Ollie freaking who, man? It was all about Douglas Luiz. Onana's a good signing, but a completely different profile. Maatsen, sure, decent, but again, I've got question marks. I've got reservations about that fella, especially his mentality. I think without Douglas Luiz, I don't think Ollie Watkins is going to thrive as much as he did. I think Diaby is a loss as well. I mean, fuck. Like, people forget, but sure, he faded, but shit, man. he had a good debut season. He just faded at the end, but shit, man. Leon Bailey, I think a lot will rest on him. I like him, but they're missing that player now behind the striker. And in my opinion, that I thought that was going to be Felix. And if they got Felix, it would have elevated them. But when it comes to playing Champions League football, plus the Premier League with the squad they currently have, they need 2 more players. We'll see if they'll be able to get them, and they need them of a certain quality. They need another defender and another number 10. I'm more fascinated to see. We'll see. As things stand, I've got them 9th. In 8th place. They won't be playing any European football. We know that affects it, right? Tonali is like a new signing. You've got potentially Gueye coming in. However, my problem with Newcastle is, yet again, they still have not been able to address the right wing problem that they've had for God knows how many years. I like Livramento, I like Lewis Hall. I think it could be a bit of a breakout season for them. In a way, I think they should have sold Trippier. I think they should give the keys to Livramento. Defensively, if they don't bring in Gueye, they're going to have problems. Because obviously Botman's still out. I don't know what even stage he'll be when he comes back. They want Madueke. That would be an upgrade over what they have. But again, I don't think Madueke is a spectacular player by any means. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to Anthony Gordon. But I'll get on to that later. Because I'll be honest with you, I have no idea why Barcelona, Liverpool, or Manchester City haven't gone for him. You know my opinions on Anthony Gordon. I think he's exceptional. And I don't get it. I think he may leave, but we'll see. We'll see. And I think they'll keep Bruno, they'll keep Isaac, but Gordon is the one I think they could lose. But we'll see. Either way, the reason I have Newcastle not going higher than this is because the manager is not good enough. Point blank, period. Not good enough. The best thing that can happen to Newcastle is if England come and ask you guys to have Eddie. Then you hand him.
Selected the opening weekend of the football as her wedding weekend, so have missed most of the stream due to travel. Which leagues have you already spoiled? Viva el Football as always.
Here you go, kind sir. That's La Liga. That's Serie A. You said cousin. Honestly, if it was sister, obviously you have to go. Cousin? Is it really worth missing most of the first match day to go to your cousin's wedding? I don't think I'll do it personally. But no way. Ornstein. No. Crazy, MC. Now then. I don't think there's going to be surprises. I think the top 6 will be the top 6 this season. In 7th place, West Ham. The market that they've had, I am in love. One of the best I've seen any team have. Much less a team who, in their position from last season, who didn't finish in the European places and were still able.
Especially the Portuguese. Not like this. I lost count of how many times I cringed after your Buffon comments about football from my country. European football going on right now, and you are doing a prediction.
Much less for a team that is not going to be participating in Europe this season. And that is why I have them finishing 7th. That is why I have West Ham finishing above Newcastle and Aston Villa. No European football. It matters. It matters big time. They have a squad that is better than the one they had last year, and they're not playing Europe. I don't think people are quite understanding the level at which the transfers that West Ham have made. I don't think people get it. Todibo, exceptional. Top. Wan-Bissaka for a team like West Ham, decent. Upgrade over Soufal, in my opinion. Again, not a great player, but an upgrade. Then you... Guido Rodriguez. Do you understand who he is, Premtars? Do you not know who Guido Rodriguez is? Well, you soon will. Well, you soon will. Top player. Ask Mr. Messi how good Guido Rodriguez is. Top. And he may not even start. That's how good their squad is already as it is. Kudus. Are people not watching Kudus? Did they not see Kudus last season? Did you not see with your eyes? Because let me tell you something about Kudus. There were 2 games with Kudus that stick to my mind that made me certain that, hang on a minute, this player is not cut from the same cloth. Funnily enough, it was the worst performance from West Ham in the entire season. Away to Chelsea. 6-1? 6-1 was the score. Watch Kudus in that game. You want to know how good a player is? Watch him when the rest of the team is shit in the bed. That's a player. I expect him to up it up a level. Kudus on the right, Somerville on the left. Somerville. Do you guys understand Somerville? Leeds fans, can you educate these fools? I know you're a little bit sore because you've lost him, but do you understand? Madre mia Gesù. Madre mia Gesù. All of that with the ability to start with Bowen up front and have a dynamic trio of Somerville left, Kudus right, Bowen up front with Paqueta behind them. Or alternatively, if that's not working, last 30 minutes, no problem. Bring on the big man. Bring on the big number 9. Who, let me tell you something, is better than Arsenal striker, is better than Chelsea striker, is better than Liverpool striker. 7th. And fucking hell, man. The only reason I don't put you higher is because you need time to gel. And I have a small question mark left defensively. I like Kilman, you overpaid for sure, but I still have a question mark defensively. That's the only reason I don't put you higher. But Alvarez top player. Guido Rodriguez will also be able to protect the defense well enough. We'll see. The question mark surrounding Paqueta is also we'll see. Kudus plays number 10. They can go either. They can go Bowen right, Somerville left, Kudus 10, Paqueta deeper with Fulkrug up top. Easily rotate. Kilman Todibo. Yeah, but I still have a question mark. I still have a question mark how it will link. It's, listen, you bring in players, but you need to see how they gel together as well, you know? And Lopetegui, Lopetegui's not on Emery's level, for example. So
Chat watch him put Man City first just so that Rat MCFC will pay his rent for another season. Sports washing oil merchant.
Now onto the top 6. I don't think there'll be surprises. I think the top 6 will be the top 6 this season. Devin, thank you for the 35, sir. 6th place, easy, Liverpool. I just don't understand, really. I'll be honest with you, I just don't get it. I do not understand it. Here's the thing with Liverpool. Alisson's on the decline. Step number one. If you've watched Liverpool in the past years and you ask who their best player was, if you really know, Alisson was their best player in every season in the past 3 seasons. He's on the decline. I've been watching him. Watch the Copa America footage. Alisson is on the decline. Centre backs wise, it's the strongest department. I love Kwanzaa. I think he's fantastic. I think Konate didn't have a good season last season, but I still think he's quality. They need a left back badly. The decline of Robertson has been so poor to see. Tsimikas. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Amori says you've got this horribly wrong. Liverpool are clearly signing 2 more players. Top 4 guaranteed. No chance. Too many. No defensive midfielder. Whoever Liverpool bring in that position, Zubimendi was the one that... The only other player I see is Ugarte. Or maybe Frankie de Jong, but I don't think that's realistic, so it's not happening. Big problem there. Big problem. Then you start moving up. I don't think SpongeBob is good enough. Even if the system suits him more, he just hasn't got the quality to break down the low blocks, which is how Liverpool are going to be operated mostly this season under Hank Schrader. They slow it down and then they try and break down low blocks. I don't think that suits SpongeBob. And another player it most certainly does not suit is Mo Salah. He is on the decline. We know this. The greatest right winger the Premier League has ever seen. 100%, no question about it. But he's also on the decline. Like, Salah thrives, like I've told you already, in chaos. Under Hank Schrader's objective is to reduce chaos. So he now wants Mo Salah to get the ball and try and still dribble past players and then create something. We've seen his passing last season. Remarkable. What do champions do? Champions, the really top champions, the top players, they have the ability to adapt their play style as they get older. And that is what Mo Salah has done. Make no mistake about it. However, and his passing ability was exceptional. However, his dribbling is declining with each passing year at a dramatic pace. And I don't think without the ability to dribble past players and create space for himself, I think Salah's going to be nerfed this season versus what he's been able to perform in the past seasons. And make no mistake about it, Salah has been fooling people recently because he starts exceptionally well. But if you keep an eye on him, he fades as the season goes dramatically. He's done this over the past 2 years. Especially with AFCON in the past, AFCON goes and then, the second half of the season, really poor. Still top, don't get me wrong. I don't want to disrespect him in any way because you know me, I put him ahead of Hazard. But we have to call it like it is. He's on the decline. It happens. What can we do? Then, the left winger, Luis Diaz. You know my opinions on him. The Colombian Aaron Lennon, nothing is going to change. Jota, sure, he knows where the back of the net is, but he's a dirty FIFA rat who's constantly injured. And then, I love it this because Liverpool fans have somehow deluded themselves into thinking that Hank Schrader is going to unlock Darwin Núñez. If Jurgen Klopp couldn't unlock Darwin Núñez, nobody is unlocking Darwin Núñez. If you think Darwin Núñez is going to fit this system in any way, you're just delusional. Because Darwin Núñez needs space. Without space, he's useless. Hank Schrader reduces space. It's over. Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez ain't going to work. Then the player I'm most fascinated to see for Liverpool is Gakpo. I think Gakpo this season could be Liverpool's best attacker, but where exactly is he going to fit into the system? I think he needs to give him the keys, but we'll see. And that was my point. My point is I think Liverpool needed Anthony Gordon as well. They weren't able to seal the deal. They need a left winger, a striker, in my opinion. They need a defensive midfielder and a left back. And one more potential centre back, but that's just cover. So far, they've not even brought in one. We'll see in it. We'll see at the end of the window. I have to go off what I'm seeing here, but yeah. 6th for Liverpool. Maximum. We'll come back to this. And it's not necessarily, by the way, that Hank Schrader is a bad manager, because I told you. He's better than Amorim, that's for sure. But when you're a player, and this is something you guys maybe can't really relate to because you've never really competed in any sport. But when you're competing in a team sport, and you're there listening to your manager, before you're about to go step onto the pitch, it matters. Go watch the video that Liverpool posted. One of the videos, I forgot which one it was. Look at the way the Liverpool players were looking at Hank Schrader. Look at the way Alisson was looking at him. Look at the way Van Dijk was looking at him. Look at the way Salah was looking at him. They have doubts. They have questions. Side eyes. Massive side eyes. Massive side eyes.
Hank Schrader would never.
Massive side eyes. And also do not underestimate one important factor as well, which is important to mention, because I feel like this often gets overlooked as well when it comes to Liverpool Football Club. Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah, Trent could all leave next season. Every single one of them. They've not committed. They haven't committed for a reason. They have doubts. You gotta call it like it is. There's a realistic chance they could lose all 4 next season. And then what? I mean, sure, then it's a rebuild, but fuck. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Did you just leave me a fucking training session? Are you crazy? Anyways, in 5th place, now, there are, obviously this is, as always, the club with the most question marks. I'm not completely sold on Maresca, but I think he'll be an upgrade over Pochettino. Make no mistake about that. For that reason, I've got Chelsea 5th. I think Nkunku will have a spectacular season. I'm calling it right now. I think Nkunku will be not necessarily the Palmer of last season, not at that kind of numbers level, because that was an exceptional level, but he'll be there. Now, with Chelsea, there's one question mark that is important, that is left to answer. If Osimhen goes, everything changes. I am making this on the assumption that Osimhen is not going to Chelsea, because I don't think he will. With Osimhen, everything changes. However, when I say everything changes, only to so much. I think Chelsea will be title contenders, but they even with Osimhen, they'll have no choice but to eventually fade. Why? Because defensively. I've watched all of Chelsea's pre-season matches. No matter what centre-back partnership they put together, they've looked awful every single time. There's a massive hole in the middle. They still have a goalkeeper problem. Jorgensen from Villarreal, I liked him last season when I watched him. There's a game he had against Barcelona in particular where he was exceptional. However, again, it's still a gamble. We don't know. We're not exactly sure. From the midfield onwards, there's no denying. I think Chelsea are going to cook going forward. When you when you got players like Pedro Neto, Palmer, and Kunku, Mudryk, they're going to cook. The problem is, at the moment, there's no number 9. So that's missing. They're missing the spine. The goalkeeper, centre-back, striker spine. Caicedo and Enzo, I expect them to definitely up the level this season as well. Yeah, I said Mudryk. And what? Did you not see the post he posted on Instagram? Did you not see that haircut? Look that into his eyes. That's an alpha male. That's why you guys struggle to relate to Mudryk. 5th, pending. As always, please look away now. Warning, spoiler alert. Respect Jackson, he's a good player, but a second choice. Grow the hell up, Orlando. In 4th spot, Spurs. I don't think they've had a particularly great window. I think it could have gone better for them. I like the Archie Gray signing. I like the Lucas Bergvall signing a lot. I think he has high potential. Solanke is an upgrade over what they had. However, they've overpaid dramatically, but that's another side point. Watch out for Mikey Moore this season. We could get to see him, especially with how shit Brennan Johnson is. Defensively, we know all about Spurs. I think they're exceptional. However, where I still have reservations and question marks are right back defensively, back up to Udogai, and I still think they needed another midfielder. Like Archie, there's going to be a lot riding on his shoulders because I think they needed a little bit more experience in that midfield. I personally would have gone and got someone else as well aside from him, but we'll see. I think people also underestimate them because on paper, Romero, Van den Ven, that for me remains up there with the best partnerships in the league, no doubt about it, and they'll build upon that. And with Solanke, which they were completely missing a number 9, it will allow Son to be able to also play what I think is his strongest position, which is on the left-hand side. 4th for Spurs. Romero is average at best. Tell me you don't know anything about football without telling me. Zenray, this is your problem. You say Romero's average at best because you only watch the Premier League, and more often than not, you only watch Romero against your teams. You probably still think Romero is this lunatic who's just constantly slide tackling and crushing people, when in reality, if you watched him last season, he's been able to get that part of his game under control, and then in the Copa America, he was the best defender in the tournament by a landslide. But as always, you wouldn't know that. There's a reason why Real Madrid, if they wanted, they tried. They inquired about Romero. But yeah, you probably think Gabriel is better than Romero. Okay, whatever you say, little bro. Now, I think there's a gap. I think these are the 3 teams that can win the Premier League title this season. I think there's a gap. This is, I was obviously 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Then there's a gap. Now, yeah, as always, people will sit here and laugh. Just ignore them. Yes, I had this top 3 last season as well. And obviously, we know what happened. Unfortunately, injuries took away the possibility from that happening. Manchester United, along with West Ham, have had the best transfer window in the league. I've been super impressed. I think they've addressed a lot of the problems that they've had. Defensively, Manchester United are on the same level as the other 2. No doubt about it. Goalkeeper-wise, sure, people can mock Onana, but I actually think United have the best goalkeeper of the 3. I think Ederson, you talk about decline, and I think he's I think there's big problems there. And Raya's, I mean, decent, but I go with Onana 1. And yeah, like I said, defensively, they're not far off. They're on the same level. I mean, Arsenal probably have the best defense overall, but the United are not that far off. I think they need one more midfield signing. I would have loved Ugarte at Manchester United. They need to bring one more. If possible, get McTominay out, bring in one more midfielder. And the part that is going under the radar for Manchester United is the Joshua Zirkzee signing. Because as always, Premtars don't really know who he is. And unlike Calafiori, they didn't get to see him in those 1 or 2 Euro matches. So they still basically have never really seen him play football. Zirkzee, he's not going to score 20 goals. Let's get that straight out. And you're like, well, that's the job of a striker. But Zirkzee is going to allow Manchester United to be able to use him as a decoy, if you will. Because his best quality is bringing the others into play. Now, here's the problem. And here's the one question mark. Bringing the others into play. Who are the others? I look at Rashford this season, and he has never got a better setup than this to thrive. He's got Bruno, he's got Zirkzee. With Kobe Mino feeding from a deeper position. If Rashford cannot succeed this season, then send him to West Ham or Aston Villa. At this point, you probably already should have. It's the perfect system for him. I think he will enter a purple patch again. And it will always be a purple patch because he's not good enough to sustain it. And that will give a boost. But again, we've seen in the Community Shield, he's just not good enough. That's the sad reality. And then, yeah, I've got reservations about Garnacho for sure. Sancho, get him out of the club. Manchester United, as much as they've progressed, it's a damn shame because I think they're one player short. They're an Olise short. If they go Olise, what it could have been. Now, Manchester City right here, right now, on the 15th of August, I think is the weakest they've ever been under Pep. I think last year, well, since this, after the first season, basically, because of the first season Pep came in was a bit of a disaster. Manchester City need to sign 2 players. If they don't, they're going to be in trouble. Make no mistake about it. It's all well and good relying, but here's the situation they're in. If they miss Rodri or Haaland,
I just want to say thank you for educating these freaks on football and your level-headed opinions when talking about Man United. We have top 4 locked, and anybody who thinks otherwise is just judging off 8th cause they can't see past a league freak bad season.
But here's the problem. When people make predictions, they make predictions based too much on last season. They take last season too much into consideration. They don't understand how it works. Anyways, according to MCFC, he is confident City will bring in these 2 players. Here's my question mark surrounding City. I think they're missing that. They're missing the Rodri back still. Kovacic can play in that position, but he's not necessarily a ball winner. We've seen they struggle when Rodri's out. Well, they haven't signed the replacement that we thought they would sign. And number 2, Alvarez is gone. You sure as shit better replace him, Because like I told you with Alvarez, his contribution to this team gone extremely under the radar. The way he started last season was exceptional. The year before, in the treble winning season, that game at Craven Cottage, people forget about those types of games. It's very easy. It's very, very easy to forget. They have to replace him. In my opinion, City needed a marquee winger. I'm not sold on Doku. I don't think his decision making is good. Oscar Bob's injury is terrible for them, because this should be his season. Thankfully, it's not as serious as they envisioned. Savio is the glimmer for me. He's shown us that he's different. Savio for me, I haven't seen that from a Manchester City winger since Mahrez. Like, and it's not that Mahrez was exceptional at City, but it's almost like Savio's got that something extra. So that's the big positive for them. But again, he needs time to settle in. We've seen City buy wingers and they take maybe under Pep's system a bit too long to settle in. Grealish could be back to his treble season. That's super important. He's looked sharp in pre-season, but again, it remains Grealish. I don't think he's ever going to be a killer, right? So that puts a lot of pressure on Haaland. But you know my opinion on Haaland. I think he's the best player in the world at the moment. I'm really curious to see De Bruyne as well. He's on the decline, no doubt about that. But he remains De Bruyne. I think he's got one more season left in him. And then Bernardo Silva, I want to see, because Bernardo's always one good season, one bad season. Well, not bad, but like one lower season. So we'll see. And then Arsenal. I'm going to be honest with you, chat. With Arsenal, I'm just irritated at this point. I'm just annoyed. Because, like, you know how much I rate Arteta, and, you know, I was the guy, heck, you know, I've got a holy moat about him when he was still assistant manager and all that. You know, I call you guys Artetas. Bro, at this point, I'm getting a little bit annoyed because it's almost like they don't want to win the league. That's the impression I get. They don't want to win it. Because with all due respect, okay, you go to the last 2 seasons and you're telling me, and you finished second twice, and you're telling me you want to head into the 3rd season yet again with Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. To me, that's just arrogance. It's not even. It's not arrogance. It's stupidity. I'm not even asking Arsenal to get an Osimhen. I'm not even asking them to get a Gaio Keres, who I think is a bit overrated, but I'm not even asking them to necessarily splash that amount of money. I tell you this with chest. If Arsenal get Ivan Toney, that type of level, Ivan Toney, I'm not even talking about those, Ivan Toney, Arsenal win the league comfortably. And if you want to insist with Havertz, and if you want to be super stubborn with Kai Havertz, and you want to continue, and you believe Kai Havertz is the number 9 because you want to use him as a decoy, fair enough, okay. But then why is your left winger Martinelli then? I've told you since day one he's not good enough. He will not be good enough. Decoy for who? Decoy for fucking Martinelli. Decoy for who, man? If you want to have Havertz, sure, then you need to go and you needed to get Leao, you needed to get Nico Williams, you needed to get Pedro Neto maybe at least, you know? But like, fucking Martinelli, like, and at this point, for me, it's like, they don't want to win it. Calafiori, incredible signing, outrageous signing. And people don't understand this as well. Timber will be like a new signing as well. So defensively, and Calafiori was a signing that was needed because they had issues in that left back position. And he'll be able to be defensively solid and provide good attacking plays as well. Girona hit the post. What a game. Holy shit. And Timber will be like a new signing as well. And they could get Merino, so that will be an improvement as well. Here's my question mark though as well. Rice, Merino, Odegaard. Who's going to play making that? Like, is Rice going to be a number 6 again? You know? Like, Merino's not a playmaker. Odegaard's a number 10. Well, have 8. Rice is not a low number 6. We've been through this. As good as Declan Rice was for Arsenal, let me tell you this, and I'll tell you this with chest. The Arsenal midfield in the 22-23 season was better than in the 23-24 season. That's as crazy as it is. And Rice was exceptional. But that's how football works. It's all about systems. It's all about how they work together. And Rice cannot play on his own. We've seen it for England. He can't. It's impossible. As good as he is, he can't play the ball forward. And it's a big problem. It's a big problem. Merino is a box crusher. Merino's not a play. He's a box crusher. So there is that slight problem as well for me. But Merino will still be a top signing. But then I'm stuck at this situation with Arsenal. We're like, why not? Ivan Toney, you win the league, go and get him. 40 million, 30 million, go and win the league. Why are you doing this? I don't get it. So as things currently stand, if the window closes today, right here today on 15th of August, Manchester United win the league. They have more of a top to bottom squad compared to the others. City need to buy 2 players. If they don't, they're going to be in trouble. And obviously we know what Arsenal will do. However, I am going to trust my good friend MCFC here. I am going to trust that Manchester City are going to buy these 2 players. If Manchester City buy these 2 players, it will be 5 in a row. 5 in a row. Are we deep in this? 5 in a row. Go.
I know most probably won't rate Nwaneri here, but I think he's going to get a lot of time this season, and he looked very good preseason.
That's a good point.
Merino is pretty much done.
But he's a bit young.
Arsenal get Gyökeres, it's going to be interesting. Arsenal will 100% not get Toney though.
Fair enough, but then you need to get someone. Because if you're not going to get someone, you're going to be here or hereabout again. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't understand. It's going to depend on who Manchester City get. This could be the closest in terms of title races that we've had. Not necessarily, I don't care about points-wise, because maybe last season was close points-wise, the year before was relatively close points-wise, but nobody believed that Arsenal, well, no sensible football fan believed Arsenal were going to win the league in either of the past 2 seasons. Those of us that understand the sport, it was always like, they're not going to get over the line. They're just not going to be able to. If City don't strengthen, they're weakening. And Arsenal would have gone stronger than last year. It's just that, like, it's there for them and they don't want to go and get it. I can't sit here and tell you guys that a team with Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, 2 of those 3 players will be starting. I can't tell you guys that team is going to win the league. I can't do it. You need to replace one of them. I've told you this for 3 years and nobody seems to listen.